All right, I'm Ryan Milton from Team Flex, and today we're going to be diving into NPC Universe Fit Model. We're going to look at the Masters Pro Card winners, a couple of them here, that basically won several Masters classes and also their Pro Card. Just to go over it for you, tell you a little bit more about what's actually winning on the Fit Model stage, what's moving in that pro leagues, and ultimately what the criteria is, what judges are looking for, so that you know how to bring your best Fit Model physique to stage 2025, 2026 at this point. I guess we can start saying that because some of you might already be in your improvement season for the next season. All right, so let's take a look at it here. Okay, so we have Class A for 35 and 40. Anna here, she won both those classes, 35 and 40. So really great. We'll review her a bit there. We kind of a recap on her physique since we did do an analysis in another video. And then we have Jen over here. Jen wins the overall, okay, as well as Masters 35 and 40 Class B. So she also wins her pro card, one we have not yet reviewed on the channel. So let's take a look at both and kind of go over this criteria, just give you a better insight. I know a lot of competitors, by the way, and the reason I'm making this video, a lot of the Masters ladies are always wondering, like, okay, well, I see the open stuff, I see this and that, you know, these women that are in there, they look like they're 20 years old. What's the difference for the Masters though? And I'll tell you what, the criteria is not different for the Masters, okay? This is something that gets lost. Criteria remains the freaking same, no matter if it's you're 20 years old or you're 60, okay? The criteria, what the judges are looking for in that division does not change. What does change is quality of competitors. And honestly, I'll be frank, the Masters athletes are usually at a much finer quality. I do find that as I've done these reviews over the years and as I've coached Masters athletes, because they generally, a lot of times, have had a lot of time to train, a lot of times to improve, and they have that kind of maturity to their physique that actually, I think, is favorable in a lot of groups. So if you're a Masters athlete or you're somebody out there who's, skeptical about getting into it, you think it's too late, hey, let's take a look. These ladies 35 and 40 plus coming out here, getting pro cards, swinging on these stages, throwing fists at everybody else. It's a great thing. So let's take a look. Okay, so Class A, Anna here, she won 35 and 40, and, she has a very, very Fit Model-esque physique. As we've talked about, Fit Model is all about bringing some fullness in those shoulders. Not too much, though. You had too much size up here, it's going to start to look like bikini. She does not have that. She has just that little bit of fullness, that's some front delt combined with a little bit of lateral delt there. And, when we get to the back, we'll see just a little bit more of that. The shoulders is something a lot of Fit Model competitors are missing the mark on. She is not one of them. It's just that little bit of fullness there, perfect balance in the upper body. The next biggest thing I want to talk about is the sweep into the waist. I've been saying this with all my Fit Model reviews. I'm saying this with all of my reviews, period. The more narrow you can get your waistline, the better you're going to do in these divisions, okay? This is the tapered look. Judges want to see this look from up here, the shoulders, tapers it down into a very narrow waist. So keep working the waist. She has a very good narrow waist effect here and a great sweep from the shoulders in. Super Fit Model torso at that point, right? Because of that. Now, bicep and tricep, I've been getting a lot of questions about this, right? I will tell you, Frank, for a lot of my Fit Model athletes, I don't even have them doing bicep and tricep, or if I do, it's very light, maybe a couple sets, touch and go, depends if they need it. It is not one of those areas that you want to overdo. It is not one of those areas you want to, I got to add a lot of size to my bicep and tricep. And why? Because it'll pull away from the shoulder, right? That shoulder effect. And in this division, you can't really overcompensate by, if I add a little bit of bicep, tricep, I'll just add more shoulder. You can't do that. So, she's got her bicep, tricep where it should be for this, where realistically it's not a lot. Some of the athletes got to train harder to get there. Some don't. Some, you got to kind of know your training history, what you've been doing, and obviously whatever your coach is having you do is probably what's going to be most on point. So that's, very balanced, very good look. This division, what you want to see coming lower body now is going to be perfect symmetry with everything that's going on up top, right? This is basically bikini as of 10 years ago where we were at. And, that is all about symmetry, about this hourglass shape. So what we should see in the lower body is going to be these muscles that balance with what's going on up top. So she has very full quads, a lot of good quad density. You can see a good glute shelf from the front. This is something that's becoming very important in Fit Model. And, you know, having a little bit of that glute view in the front, I'm seeing that with all the competitors doing very well. Upper glutes got to be full, and you got to have that balance again between the quads and glutes, and that should all match what's going on up top. So she has a lot of good symmetry, a lot of good shape here, very good balance, very good proportion. No doubt wins both those classes, wins her pro card. You know, that's a phenomenal Fit Model standard type of a physique here. Exactly what you should be looking at. You know, if you are coming in these divisions, you want that look. That fuller look is what is winning right now, especially lower body. Now, conditioning wise, we should talk a little bit about that. She's not overly lean. She's not overly, you know, holding too much body fat either. So what you'll see is some soft lines in the oblique, a little bit of separation in the lower body, just maybe a tad of, you know, visible kind of little separation down in the quads, shoulder a little bit up here. Nothing crazy. You know, it's a softer level condition. That's exactly what you want in Fit Model. You don't want to be, you know, like bikini's much leaner. If you don't want to go into bikini and have the leaner look there, Fit Model's the place to keep a little bit of a softer look. And, you know, great job to Anna there. All-star type of a Fit Model look, in my opinion. Now let's take a look over at Jen. By the way, we will be flipping to Anna's back post here in just a minute to go in a little bit further. And we'll talk a little bit more about that then. So Jen here, okay? So Jen is the overall winner in this group, Masters 35, and she's also won 40 plus Class B, okay? So she came in, again, very, very much a consistent look at Universe. It's probably the best example Fit Model we've seen at Nationals thus far because it's very streamlined. And if you're watching, you're getting a really clean idea of what you need to be bringing to these stages. So for Jen here, good overall shoulder shape. You'll notice how it's not overdone, not capped out, not big, you know, these big shoulders, delts. Nothing coming from that much. We're seeing some shape and some fullness. Good. Bicep and tricep here again, not detracting, not distracting from her physique whatsoever. And we look at the midsection, great taper in here. There it is, right? So she's got the total complete Fit Model look, not overly muscular, not overly, you know, dominant up top. And what we can see for sure coming into the lower body is great, you know, development here as well. A little bit of that quad fullness, this glute from the front that I was talking about. Now, every athlete's going to pose a little bit differently. So, you know, there's a little bit of a posing difference. May not get as much glute as what we were looking at over here with Anna, but that's all right. A little bit of different posing choice, no problem. That's still a Fit Model front pose, and it still locks it all in. What we can see here, again, good overall, you know, fullness and shape in the lower body. Upper glute is there. Taper in really well. Very balanced, very overall, just a dialed in Fit Model look. Really nails that. Conditioning wise, spot on. Again, those same lines in the oblique, a little bit down here in the quads, not too much, a little separation up top, nothing crazy, not holding extra body fat, really locks down that look. It's a very complete Fit Model look, you know, for both of these ladies going to the Pro League. You know, all that's going to end up happening is probably a little bit more sizing, bringing up maybe the upper body a little bit more, you know, overall, because that's what happens when you're going at, you know, top NPC and you get your pro card. It's a very fun time because the next thing is now you're at the bottom of the Pro League. But with Fit Model, it's a little different since it's a brand new division, right? So technically, everyone who's turning Fit Model Pro and will be competing in the Pro League is going to be starting at the bottom. So it's a very exciting time for Fit Model. All right, by the way, I got to say, I got a lot of feedback last week on the NPC Universe stuff. A lot of people were like, what's going on? This is crazy. I learned so much about Fit Model. I loved it. Okay, well, you want to love a lot more stuff and learn a lot more? Go do my free trial right here, okay? This is an exclusive opportunity I offer to you viewers out here that want to check this out. You get to train with me free for 7 days, okay? Can review your physique, look at your photos, give you feedback, build your custom training sessions, help you with your nutrition, whatever it is. I'm your coach free for 7 days. It's my give back to the bodybuilding world. It's my give back to all you viewers, all you people that make it possible for me to do this for my career. And I give, you know, great stuff in there that people take with them and they love it, and it transforms, you know, literally their prep, their competition journey. I hear it constantly. So check that out. It's a free trial. You don't put payment info in. You don't get charged for nothing. It's never going to happen. You don't even, I don't know your card info. It's free. So come in here, get this, check it out, pull out your phone, type it in, hit the link in the description, and I will help you master your Fit Model look. I promise you that. Okay. All right, let's dive in here now into the back pose for both these ladies in this group, okay? So again, back to Anna, and then we'll talk about Jen a bit more as well. Jen's a little out of pose here, unfortunately, in this shot, but again, we're always dealing with whatever shots get posted. All right, so Anna here. Again, totally fit model look. Fit model ladies, you watching this channel, you're trying to get your look down. You don't know what it is. This is it, okay? A little bit of that shoulder shape. A little bit of that taper in here. Perfect balance of the upper body. No muscles taking the show too much. Again, you notice the triceps. They're not distracting from the deltoid. That is really key in this division. You don't want to have that happen. Make sure it's not happening. Lower body-wise, we can see good overall fullness and balance in the glutes, the upper glute. This, again, not a tie-in, folks. Fit model rules say no tie-ins. I know a lot of competitors watching or viewers watching say, oh, that is a tie-in, though. I promise you this is not how judges think of a tie-in. This, we could call it like, I don't know, a slight separation of muscular density from the glutes and the hamstrings. This is not a hard tie-in, okay? If you want to see hard tie-ins, maybe I'll start like putting a view of it in here. Like, go look at Francielli, winning Olympia. Look at her back pose. You will see a very hard tie-in. That's what judges think of a tie-in, okay? Wellness, the bikini has tie-ins, but wellness has a lot because a lot more muscle. Fit model, this is not really that. This is more like glute structure meets hamstring structure meets quads balancing out, right? But I'll tell you what, either way, the lower body look is fullness. Fit model right now, all about fullness. Take that home, take it to the bank, take it with you. You need to remember, fit model is about fullness right now. Conditioning, we're not seeing any crazy deep cuts, grains, anything like that. This is, again, very soft lines here and there. And otherwise, that is a very balanced, very symmetrical fit model look, especially here from the back. And, this is what you should be aiming for. If you like this look, this is the Fit Model Pro look right now. This is happening across the board with every single athlete. Let's look at Jen. So, Jen, we see a very similar function as far as everything goes here. Again, she's a little bit out of pose. Unfortunately, it's the only shot we got here, but we can see all the same markers, no doubt. Good balance in the upper body. Her tricep is not distracting from it. Again, that's an indicator. Not doing too much upper body, pushing it too far. In other words, fit model, fit model, fit model. Not about huge shoulders, not about big biceps and triceps, not about big wide backs. It's about having that muscle and that shape and, having that up top. Enhance your physique, but not take away from anything. Lower body wise, we can see overall good glute shape here. Upper glute is definitely developed and rounded. Again, you'll get into that not tie-in fit model tie-ins that we talk about, which is, again, showing up in a lot of the pros right now, which is just fine. And then lower body, hamstring development, quad development, everything is there. Again, the conditioning, not super chiseled, not carved out of granite, just where it should be in fit model division. So all-star example from these two ladies right here. Jen and Anna, great job. Congratulations. Epic stamps on the pro cards here at Universe. And also, again, being in these masters groups, that 35, that 40, and showing, again, a perfect example to all you ladies out here watching. They're on the fence. You're like, I can't get into this. I'll tell you what, some of my best competitors are competitors that got into this in their 40s. Literally, first competitions happen in their 40s. You'd be so blown away by what you can do with your physique. If you have thought, though, that ship sailed because you're not, 22 years old anymore, come on. Get out there, try it out. Fit model is the place. It is the time to do it. And it's a great opportunity for everybody involved, especially those that have been on the fence. Check out my trial. Got to say it one more time. Super awesome experience here. And I would love to help you do better out there. Any of you watching, so check that out. And otherwise, let me know. We got actually one more video, I think, coming on Fit Model Pro winners here. We're going to look at the rest of the class, those that were not in the first, but the ones that still got a pro card in second place here. We're going to talk a little bit about those physiques as well. If you want more videos on Fit Model Pro, if you want more, NPC regionals, you got competitions you compete at, you want to see your physique on this channel, comment. I read those. I bring them to the channel, and I'd love to do it. All right. Thank you for watching. Coach Ryan is out.